What is going on, guys? DJ Av here. Smash that like button, and we're going to be talking about music business stuff and filling out split sheets and publishing, etc. in this video. So smash that like button and leave a comment below of stuff that you want me to talk about, or if you enjoy this video. Please stick around. You don't want to miss a thing.
Traptendo.
So the first thing I want to talk about is a book. Yes, reading. You should do that. And a book I want to recommend to you is All You Need to Know About the Music Business, written by Passman. It was published in 1991. I understand it's 2017, and a lot of things have changed. Streaming wasn't in that book because streaming was, one of those things that weren't really big or existed at that time. But some of the main music business stuff is in that book, and it will help you out in your negotiations, which a lot of music producers don't really know about how their point system works, percentages work, and that's what we're going to talk about in this video. So it will help you expand on that. Read, please. So let's go ahead and talk about the split sheets and get into publishing companies, publishing percentages, etc. Let's do this. Okay, so we're at the split sheet. I want to break it down as quick as possible, but as detailed as possible, because make sure, again, the highlight of this video is to make sure that you have your paperwork done and have a firm understanding how the split sheets work and how copywriting works, because a lot of people will take advantage of you because of that. Now, the split sheet, again, it's an agreement. It's agreement before the actual, contract or whatnot, in which you can negotiate with you and your lawyer with their lawyer, again, with those two parties or how many parties that are involved. So the song title, again, a lot of people will be talking about, well, would you have a split sheet for a collaboration? Now, producers are musicians at the end of the day. You have jazz musicians that had no lyrics on their albums, have multi-platinum albums and stuff like that. Of course, they had several band members and stuff like that, but I'm not gonna get into that, but it does apply itself to the split sheet. So you'll have a song title, you can just name it whatever beforehand, just to save grace here. Date, obviously, when the date the track was created, and the project, you might want to leave that blank or whatever, unless y'all have a project that you already have. Now, here is some stuff that I want to talk about as far as the percentages and copyrights. First off, there's absolutely no person, no matter if they fill out the copyright paperwork themselves and send it, if you had something to do with that beat and they claim it 100% on the copyright, they are breaking the law and they will owe you a lot of money. So let's be clear about that. Whenever something is created and it is more than one party, they cannot be a sole proprietor of the copyright, period. Nothing they can do about that whatsoever, because if you can prove without a shadow of a doubt that you had something to do with it and it isn't copyrighted and it sounds a bit like it, they can lose a lot of money. Okay, so let's be clear about that. Okay, publishing, we're going to talk about that because, again, you have publishing, songwriters, and etc. So I'm going to start talking about ASCAP first. ASCAP is a performing rights company. One thing I want to point out about ASCAP, seeing that I am a member of ASCAP, I got tons of stuff published, of course, and for performance rights. It's a bit tricky to be a part of ASCAP. ASCAP, they require you to have something that is rolling. But if you have a song that's rolling and it's been published, and it's easy to publish stuff like on YouTube or even SoundCloud these days, or Spotify, which we'll talk about in the later video. So yeah, so you can publish stuff and put it out there, and you can be a part of ASCAP. It's something that just rung my mind real quick. But ASCAP is a really large performance rights company. A lot of people don't prefer them because when there's certain situations where you can get something done, it's a little harder because they have so many big wigs that they deal with, which is not a bad thing. It's just a little difficult to deal with sometimes when you're trying to publish a song and you want your check. So, be leery of that. And, we'll talk about signing up for ASCAP and BMI and CSAC another time. But there's BMI. BMI is a little smaller than ASCAP, but however, they're just as good. Apparently, you have a lot of people that are on BMI for their performance rights. And, a lot of people apply to BMI because of the fact that they might be, quote unquote, and, this is just subjectively better. Just depends on the person, again. So moving forward, you have CSAC that you can sign up for. And all these links will be in the description box, including the split sheet, so you can download it. I apologize for not mentioning that. But, CSAC is a much smaller company. A lot of people like to go to them because they tend to have more stuff for performance rights, being able to be able to do more tours and shows and stuff like that, or even certain things where you could just get a check for commercials and stuff like that without the hassle, from publishers or whatnot. So yeah, it is what it is with that. You can fill it out or even do the research yourself. Links will be in the description box so you can sign up for them. Please sign up for a performance right before you get into this music business. It will help accelerate the process of you being able to get to this right here without a problem and negotiating percentages, which is what we're going to talk about. So first, I'm going to use the percentage of 100%. Because you have 100% of a song that is split between an artist and a composer or producer or a songwriter. Now, the artist gets 50%, obviously. If it's just the artist that is the writer, they pose as a songwriter as well. They get their whole 50%. And then the producer, that made the track or whatnot will get 50% themselves. Now, it gets a little different depending on if a third-party publishing company comes in. Of course, the percentages go down a little lower. Then, you'll have 25% for the producer, then the publishing company, and then 25% for the songwriter, the artist and songwriter, and then the publishing company again. So basically, it's 50-50 again, except you're all taking a smaller percentage. But that depends on if they're cutting that check. It just depends on the publishing company, or the music licensor or licensee, person buying the music from you. So again, that percentage, if you have two producers, of course, obviously it's 25-25, and then 50% for the artist is songwriter. Now, if there's a songwriter and then there's an artist, and then there's two producers, obviously that's 25-25. That is the logistic thing about it. That is what you're entitled to. That's what you should get for that. For that exchange, that is. It might be a little different sometimes with negotiations. I've dealt with it before. I didn't like it. But the turnout for the situation was movie placements, movie scores, a whole bunch of stuff. And I took 15%. The movie was #1 in the Billboard, box office Billboard, blah. So yeah, equate to that. Do your research on me. So anyways, with that, those are the things that you want to keep in mind when you fill out the percentage or ownership part. Of course, you have your name and contact info because you want to be able to keep in contact with each other so that stuff doesn't get misconstrued down the line. So keep that in mind as well. Of course, y'all sign it, then everything is all good. That's how the music business should work. Paperwork, make sure that everything's happening. Again, I want to point out the All You Need to Know About the Music Business book. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it as a PDF, of course. And, you can get a hard copy. I recommend a hard copy. It just feels good, man, just to have a hard copy everything, not digital everything. But, if you're a digital guy, it's available to you there. It is not cheap, but it's a very good read. Promise you will feel powerful from reading this book. I've read it from front to back several times. So that's about it there. So that's basically about it. That's all I wanted to talk about for right now. So again, leave a comment below. and make sure you check out the description box for all this information. And I really appreciate you guys for your time. Just let me know if you want more videos like this, because I can break it down really well. I really want to help out as many people as possible with the business side of music, because, you know, I've experienced the tough end, and I really don't like it when there are so many sad people that tell me about how to get screwed over. So we're going to prevent that. All right, DJ Av, thank you guys again. Y'all have a good day. Later.
Trap Tendo.